Hello, this is I Do Damage and welcome back to the channel. In this Torchlight Frontiers video, I want to talk about Update 9, Seeds of Fortune, and share my impressions of the new update. But first, I want to just take a minute and just do a quick little update on the channel here. First of all, we hit 50 subscribers for the channel. Thank you everyone for the support. It's a milestone for me, guys, and I just want to take a second and kind of celebrate that. And also, I want to thank you for all the feedback I've received from many different avenues. It really does help me with making these videos. If you haven't yet, check the link down below for the link to my Twitch page and follow me on there to catch some awesome gameplay footage of all the games we follow on the channel. So, this video is going to be about the Update 9 impressions, but before we jump into that, just two more updates I want to tell everyone. First of all, I'm going to be going to about 2 videos a week. I'm aiming for Monday and Friday to be the day that we come out with new videos on the channel. Some weeks there could be more, it just really depends. And also, if you weren't aware yet, I have not been streaming a whole bunch lately because I've been having internet issues. I'm not going to get super into it, but it's had an impact a little bit here. But anyway, enough about the channel. Let's talk about why you're here, and that is Torchlight Frontiers. First of all, the first thing in the patch, before I even start, I just want to say, wow, this update has changed a lot. In most updates, it adds like a new system or a new feature. But in this update, it's like they just redid the core of the game and added on a bunch of new systems. It's really crazy to me, and I love it. There's a lot more to do now in Torchlight Frontiers. But the first big update we saw was 2 new skills for each class. There's 3 classes, so 6 new skills. I had planned to do a video on these new skills this week, but the issue with my internet being out, I don't have access to the new skills yet. I need to level up to get the new skills. It will happen eventually. I will get around to it as soon as I can actually play the game and get footage of it for you guys. Another huge part of this patch is Enchanting, and let me tell you, Enchanting added a lot to the game when it comes to itemization. It's crazy, but first I want to just explain how it works. So first of all, you go to your fort, you go to the enchanting station, and you have to break down an item to get the raw materials from it. So green, blue, and legendary items you can break down for materials. And each item, it doesn't matter the level or anything like that. All that matters is the rarity, and you get 1 material per item per piece. And then you use those materials to then enchant an item that you have that has enchantment slots on it. These enchantment slots can come with anywhere from 1 to 3 enchantment slots, just depending on how lucky you are, basically. And also, the really interesting thing with enchanting is you don't just have all these recipes by default. You have to actually find them out in the world and loot them and learn them that way. And let's say you roll a new piece of gear, you do an enchantment slot and you don't like the enchant. You can disenchant it. It does cost a lot of gold, and I'm wondering if they're going to tune this a little bit more in the future. But it seems pretty expensive right now, as the gold cap's only 20,000 gold. But you can reforge it as many times as you want to until you get your perfect roll. So overall, I think Enchanting adds a lot more to the game. It adds more to item variety, and when you find a piece that has enchantment slots, it's like, it just feels really good. And also, you can target the stats on these items. It just adds a lot more. It adds an item sync, a gold sync. Now next up, and this was probably the number one for most people, me included, was the fame and contracts. First of all, let's talk about how this system actually works. So fame works on a weekly rotation. Each zone that you teleport to, right next to the waypoint, there's a contract board, and you can pick up 3 quests on each board per zone. So in these reset weekly, so what this means is you have a weekly cap on fame. So they've really time gated this. The quests are okay. Some of them are more time consuming than others. Some are just go kill 50 goblins, or go kill a dungeon boss, or one I had to like look under rocks and find slugs. It's cool. It gets people out in the world, and it makes the world feel more alive. So as you complete each contract, you get a set amount of fame, and the more fame you get, the more you level up to a maximum fame level of 60 in the Goblin Frontier. And once you hit level 60, it doesn't stop there. You can keep going and do a repeatable quest. It just cycles through different rewards that you can get. One of them being a legendary map. So for me, I want to farm as many legendary maps as humanly possible. So overall, Fame and Contracts is really awesome. I really like to see the account-wide progress and the account-wide progression. It makes me feel like I'm actually working towards something. One of the drawbacks here is that the quests are low level. It'd be nice if they would scale to be more on par for higher level characters. Also, I don't really like the weekly time gate of Fame. Like, let's say I'm going to be out of town next week. I'm not, but let's say I just couldn't play for a week. I would just miss out on all that fame. I really wish that the elite mobs and legendary mobs would reward fame. But I don't know, maybe in the future they'll change that. They haven't confirmed or denied that. I know in the past these special mobs did reward fame, so maybe they'll re-implement that. Now, the next big thing, and my big thing with Torchlight Frontiers, is that it's aiming to be not only an isometric ARPG, but also an MMORPG. And this is one of the most interesting things about this game to me. And they added a feature that really kind of just really hit that fact home. And this was the luck tree. So I have a few videos here. Pretty much the luck tree. You log in after update 9 if you have access. And you get this the seed early on. You go ahead, you can plant it in your fort. It takes 27 legendary items to get it to max level 5. And at each level of the tree, you'll get 1% item luck. And that buff is account wide. So for me, I had a ton of legendaries saved up. I sat down, did it in 5 minutes. Boom, level 5 tree, done. But if you're just starting out, I have a feeling it would take quite some time to get your tree up to level 5, which is really good. It gives you something to be working towards. So not only does it give you that account-wide buff that I mentioned, but if you go to someone else's tree out in the world, you can sacrifice an item to their tree and get a item find luck from that as well. This was a thing that I was really excited for, and it really made me want to go out and explore other forts and try to find that luck tree and get this buff, right? But the way it's implemented is a little weird. It's a nice buff. I donated a blue item, and I think I got 14% luck, item luck, which is, it's a lot of item luck, really. But the buff only lasts for 5 minutes. I mean, think if you sacrificed a legendary item and you get a 5-minute buff. That's like 2 loading screens and like maybe a few mobs. You're not going to get really much out of that buff. Now, the higher the rarity of the item, the more luck find you get, but it's still 5 minutes across the board. Doesn't matter. And we talked about it a little bit on the Torchlight Discord, and it seemed like a lot of people agreed that the buff should be longer. But overall, I'm not going to keep going on about that. Overall, I think the luck tree is a super cool feature to make the world feel alive and to give it that MMO feeling. And I really just hope that they will expand upon this feature and really listen to the feedback that's coming in and give us longer buffs, 30-minute long buff, maybe even an hour buff, whatever it is. People were saying maybe depending on the rarity of the item, so like a green is a 10-minute buff, a blue is a 20-minute buff, and a legendary is a 30-minute long buff, and then they also give increased item luck. Anything to me would be better than 5 minutes. My personal vote would be just 30 minutes to an hour across the board, and just give each rarity more item luck to your buff. Again, it's a good start, and it really does need to be expanded upon, though. Another thing that I think would be really cool since it's an MMO is to maybe have your tree gain like points. So the more times people sacrifice items to your tree to get that buff, you got like a point system that maybe gave you like a little, hour-long account. I don't know. They could do something just to make it feel more rewarding other than just a thing you put in your fort, you max it out and forget about it. So I've touched on the skills, the enchanting system, fame, and the luck tree. Another really nice part of this patch is the overall feel of the game and the quality of life features really got an overhaul. And it almost feels like a whole new game in a way. And I've even heard people say that on the Discord as well. They've just added a lot here. When I first logged in, like there's a new login screen, there's a new mini map, there's a lot. There's a lot that just makes the game feel better. They added a fog of war. I mean, the list is huge. I'll touch on a few more later, but first I want to point out the big highlights here when it comes to overall feel and quality of life. First of all was relic enchanting. If you don't know what relics are in Torchlight Frontiers, think of an ultimate ability from any other game. It has a longer cooldown, but you use it and it does a ton of damage, gives a big buff, does crazy stuff, whatever it is. So these relics are meant to be build-defining items that you can actually level up these relics as if it was its own class. And it has its own skill tree as well. And these relics are huge. You get your first one right off the bat. So before the patch, it was, if you wanted to make a new relic, you would have to wait 12 hours for the crafting timer. And I always thought in the back of my head that, yeah, Torchlight Frontiers is going to be free to play, right? So they could add in items to the cash shop to speed up that 12 hours or something. And guess what? I'm happy to say that in Update 9, the crafting speed is 20 seconds. It's fast and eliminates all those thoughts that were going on in the back of my head. So relic crafting, before you'd have to have 1 core to craft a relic. Now they've made it cost 24 cores, but the bosses that drop these cores drop a lot more cores. People have reported seeing 9 cores drop at one time. I personally have only seen 6 drop at once, and it seems to be about a 10% chance for the boss to even drop any. But when the boss does drop the cores, it drops a plethora of them. And the reason they did this in the patch notes is said they wanted to increase the feel-good moments. And I think they've done a good job. It's really awesome to see 6 orange beams shining down on all those cores and collecting them. It feels really good. And of course, the crafting time reduction is just huge. Another change they made to the overall feeling of the game and more of a quality of life is they reworked the Hybrid quest chain, kind of like what they did with the Goblin quests a while back. I'd love to comment further on this. It's obviously nice to see. However, my very first quest is bugged in the Hybrid Frontier, and I can't complete it. So maybe if we get a hot fix here in the next few days and it gets fixed, I will maybe make a video on that. Who knows? Also, a minor thing I want to point out here was the quest UI got a rework. As minor as that might sound to you, it's huge. It's huge. Ever since I started playing back in Update 7, one of my friends that's had access even longer than me would talk about the quest UI. Man, it takes so long to load. It's clunky. It's hard to know where to go and what to do. And in this update, they've improved it significantly. I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it's nice. They've color-coded the quests for account quests, story quests, side quests, and fame quests. So you can easily tell which is which when you're looking at the map in the quest UI. Awesome. Awesome to see. My only thing I would like to see here is on the map you have the yellow question marks for your main story, your side quests, your account quests, things like that. But I'd like to see a purple question mark for the fame quest so I know exactly which zone to go to for the fame quests. But then again, maybe the fame quests are meant to be more of an exploration type thing, like you need to remember which board you got it from and which zone, and just to not spoon feed you as much and to actually earn that fame more. Who knows? Last but not least, they did a shrine overhaul, and this also was huge. Before, there's a lot of shrines that I would just straight up skip, like the fire defense. The resource ones were backwards and actually like didn't work for some of the classes, and honestly before I would just skip all the shrines unless if they were the movement speed. But these new shrines actually give you killer buffs and are totally worth getting. I love this shrine. It's such a minor thing again, but really all these little things have just added up to make the game feel like a whole new game in a way. And it's awesome to see. And a few more things they added, and then we'll get to my final thoughts on the overall update. They added new monsters, new tiles that you'll see on maps, New items and legendaries. They did a balancing pass of the classes and some tuning. I think some more work still needs done on that, but maybe we'll get to that in my class overview video one of these days. And of course, they did some general bug fixes. So overall, if you can't tell by now, this update has been probably one of the bigger ones to me in Torchlight Frontiers, and I think it's a step really in the right direction and getting closer to an open beta, if that's going to be a thing. They haven't said it is, but I just feel like they have the core to a point where it's more stable, there's more stuff to do, the game loops are a little bit better now, and hopefully we'll see more people in game. Everything just looks nicer. The new minimap is awesome. The quest UI is awesome. They're definitely heading in the right direction here. There's just a few things I really wish they would listen to. You know, the luck tree that I pointed out, the buff on there, the coloring or the UI for the fame quests. I also would like to see elite mobs drop fame. That just seems like something that, you know, 'cause some of these elite mobs take a while to kill and feel useless. I think if they actually rewarded fame, I would be more apt to kill them instead of skipping some of them. And also, hopefully, they fix that high vid quest bug. And also, just the last thing I wanted to comment on was, in this update, I decided to level a brand new Railmaster. I have a level 77 Railmaster, but I decided to level a new one just to kind of check out the pacing and the leveling speed, because they said that they've made it better overall. And for the Railmaster, it's just not true. The Railmaster is very weak in the beginning levels. And I think I got to level 17 on my Railmaster, and I just got bored of it because it leveled so slow and did next to no damage. And instead, I made a Dusk Mage, and I'm going to tell you right now, the Dusk Mage is super, super strong. This thing, I was doing maps 3 levels above my character level, which is unheard of on a Railmaster. Maybe it just comes down to not getting the best gear for the Railmaster, and maybe that's why, but I don't think so. I looked at the tooltips, and just the Dusk Mage skills overall do more damage, because the damage is based off a percentage of your weapon damage. And for instance, one of the mage skills does 250% weapon damage, where the Railmaster does 100 and some percent weapon damage. I don't know, I hope they buff up that Railmaster at some point. We'll have to see, but it seems like maybe with the Railmaster they're trying to make it more of a support type class. But anyway, I'm going to save all these thoughts, and I could go on about this game forever, guys, but I'm going to save all these final thoughts and potentially do a class overview video in the future. Again, let's hope my internet gets back to working and I can get back to pumping out these videos and do all these things that I have planned and actually be able to play the game. If you made it this far into the video, seriously, thank you. Good luck on getting those keys. If you haven't yet, sign up on their website. Link will be down below. Check out my Twitch down below. Make sure you follow so you can check out some gameplay footage when I go live. I usually stream 3 or more times a week, usually in the evenings. And if you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.